Hello and welcome to this Red Gaming Tech video, myself and Marta, where as always I'm here with the latest from the tech world in the last 24 or so hours. Today we're mostly going to be talking about Navi, however I do have a couple of other things to offer as well. So let's start off with the main course, shall we? So this is all thanks to a report by wccftech.com, so of course there is going to be a link in the description below this video to their article. So according to their sources, AMD have finalised the first Navi design and codenamed it Navi 12, and we'll get to the naming in just a second as to why that's actually important. And they also have been told that the GPU will have 40 CUs. Now, per their own calculations, if the ratio of stream processors in the CU is the same of that of GCN, we're looking at 64 CUs each for it, and then that basically means we're going to be getting 2560, so 2560 stream processors. Now again, that is far from confirmed. That is per WC's own sources plus their own calculations. So why is the name of 12 important? Well, we pretty much expected that it would launch, with Navi 10 as its nomenclature. And this is especially important for AMD because their particular naming conventions are based on the timeline at which the dies were designed. So that essentially means that, again, if these reports are accurate, and we should always take anything that's not from the AMD themselves or whoever with a pinch of salt, this means that Navi 10 is not ready just yet. So this is coming out first. So they're skipping over 10 for now and going to 12. Now, another important thing to note is that this particular GPU is probably going to be based upon the Super SIMD architecture that Paul did an analysis on some time ago. There is going to be a link in the description below this video to that very same video. I would highly recommend you check it out if you haven't seen it. It is rather good, if I do say so myself. So this particular leak is basically posing that this graphics card, Navi 12, whatever it ends up being called on the actual market, is probably going to be the 600 series, but obviously we don't know that. It's going to be in the mid-range with more powerful ones to come later. So Navi 10 would be like the high end, just for instance, if this is true, and 12 would be the mid-range, and then obviously we'll be getting more powerful ones as we go along. But we do not know if there's going to be architectural changes in between the mid and high end. Now, you may have seen the reports not too long ago that we would be seeing some form of Navi GPU or APU, to be more specific, in the PS5. So is this perhaps the PC version of that as well? Is this the GPU that whatever's going to be in the PS5 is based upon? At least according to WC's own reports, this is not going to be the case. It is a derivative of the actual Navi die, and has been created by AMD for the PC audience primarily. So Navi 12 is not going to be, at least according to this report, the GPU that is featured in the PS5. So what else do we know specs-wise? Well, as I already said, they have been told that it's going to have 40 CUs. And again, if they're going to have the same number of stream processors as GCN does, we're looking at 2560, as I've already said. But we obviously don't know important information like anything, what the clock speed's going to be like or anything like that. There is a lot still left sort of in question, as it were. So, as I already said, this is going to be mid-range, which could mean that the one that the PS5 is kind of based upon this, but it's not the same one, or something along those lines. Or it could very much be the one that's going to be in the PS5, but obviously an APU variant of it will be what we see in the actual console itself, or we could be seeing something completely different. We just don't know. Now, unfortunately, we are still not expecting to see hide nor hear of Navi until at least the first half of 2019. That has not changed. I'm sure you're all hoping that actually, it's going to be coming out at the end of this year or something like that. AMD is going to come out with the Stormer to take on Turing or something along those lines. I mean, they may, but it won't be until next year at least, or it's the first half of next year, should I say. So basically, Navi 12 is going to be the first Navi part to arrive, and that's going to be what we're going to be seeing in the first half of 2019. Navi 10 is either going to come later or has been cancelled. We just don't know. It could be later on in 2019, or it could even be 2020. It could be based on 7nm or or it is most likely going to be based on 7nm, but Navi 20 is obviously the true high-end GPU built on the 7nm node, and that is most likely going to be 2020, even going into 2021. So, unfortunately, Radeon is not going to be taking aim at Turing anytime soon, at least if this is correct. It could very much be the case that Navi 12 is coming out first, and then later on that year we're going to be getting the high end, or it could even be that this is the high end. We just don't know. This source's information could be inaccurate, could be old, or it could be absolutely correct. We just don't know. So I would imagine that we're going to be getting more information from AMD sometime-ish soon, maybe start of next year, something like that, especially we are expecting it the first half. But let's move on, shall we? I think I've yammered on enough about Navi. So let's move over to a little something from Samsung, shall we? Now, this is very much a little something, but it definitely is going to be something worth watching in the future, as we have a bit of a tease from the official Samsung Exynos Twitter page, and we're going to be seeing the next generation chipset unveiled on November the 14th. And we also have a bit of a teaser which hints at intelligent processing. Now, you may recall there was a recent report on the Exynos 9820 saying that it would have a neural processing unit for helping with deep learning and, of course, AI, which would also in itself help with image processing, speech recognition, and image recognition as well. And further, again, according to those reports, the 9820 is not going to be featuring big dot little architecture and will instead be going for a 2+2+4 dynamic architecture instead. But unfortunately, that's kind of where the details that we've heard about this particular chipset stop, other than the fact that we're most likely going to be seeing it use the 7nm process on EUV. Now, you may recall some time ago I discussed a report from Samsung themselves detailing their roadmap, what they're working on for the future, and 7nm was high up on that list. So whatever we end up seeing on November the 14th, obviously just a few days at the time of recording, is most likely going to be what's going to be inside the Samsung Galaxy S10. But anything further than this, unfortunately, would be pure speculation, but we do have yet more from the mobile world, as we have something from Huawei. So this particular report is regarding the Kirin 990, which obviously is very hot on the heels of the unveiling of the Kirin 980. But despite that fact, this report is claiming that Huawei are already working on another 7nm FinFET chipset, and it's actually going to be here in the first quarter of 2019. Now, this could be to bring 5G to the table, as of course that was one thing that is missing from the 980. It does not have a dedicated 5G modem, so we could see that being one of the flagship features in the 990, or we could not, but it is definitely something to consider. Now, it is said to be using the same architecture as that of the 980, which does kind of make sense, as we'll see, the 980 was just unveiled, and it would also kind of lend credence to the thought that this is going to be an improved version of the 980, but with 5G, and also allegedly we're going to be seeing a 10% performance boost, and also is going to see a reduction in power consumption of roughly 10% as well. Now, unsurprisingly, Huawei are not commenting on any of these reports, but the last thing that we do know, at least according to these, because again, we should take this with a pinch of salt, TSMC are going to be the ones actually handling the manufacturing, and it's going to be and Huawei, should I say, are going to be investing more than $28 million in research and development, which is not exactly a small sum, even for a company like Huawei. Now, unfortunately, we don't have any other information about this alleged chipset, and again, Huawei are refusing to comment or even say nope or yep or anything. So, yeah, do keep your eyes peeled for more updates. If this is indeed true, I would fully expect to be seeing more information, more leaks and more rumours as we approach the actual unveiling, which probably won't be for some time. But as I said, these report is claiming the first quarter of 2019, so it wouldn't be terribly long before we saw something, but obviously it's not going to be tomorrow or anything like that, especially, again, given that we just saw the 980 unveiled. So they're already hard at work. Again, I would fully expect this to be pretty much on the money. It's just going to be a sort of newer version with performance improvements, power improvements, and of course that very important 5G support as well. But it could all be completely inaccurate and it's going to shoot laser beams into your eyes or something. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.